"Move! Old man, you're in my way." The words shot through the air like a whip. Then came the slap. Sharp, loud, and humiliating, striking not just the cheek of the old man, but the hearts of everyone who witnessed it. The sound echoed down the street, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. A hush fell over the bustling road. People turned. Phones came out, and then something completely unexpected happened. The old man, bleeding slightly at the corner of his lip, didn't raise his hand in defense. Instead, with quiet dignity, he brought his hand to his forehead and saluted. It was an ordinary, hot afternoon in downtown Houston. The kind of suffocating August heat that made people impatient. Cars overheat and tempers flare. On a sun-cracked sidewalk near a crowded intersection, two men stood. One was Ethan Chase, a 32-year-old entrepreneur, flashy and arrogant, wearing a crisp designer suit and sunglasses that cost more than most people's rent. His custom-wrapped matte black sports car idled behind him, blocking traffic. The other was Walter, an elderly man in a faded military uniform, gripping a worn cane in one hand and holding a handmade cardboard sign in the other. The sign read, "Vietnam Veteran. God bless you." Ethan had stepped out of his car in frustration, annoyed that someone was standing in front of his vehicle, holding up traffic. In his world of boardrooms and high-end deals, time was money, and patience was weakness. Without hesitation, he stormed forward, barking at the old man, dismissing him as just another vagrant on the sidewalk. When Walter didn't respond quickly enough, Ethan struck him, not with the rage of someone being threatened, but with the entitlement of someone who had never been told no. But Walter wasn't just some beggar, and Ethan had no idea what he had just done. After that salute, the energy on the street shifted. Murmurs spread. Someone in the crowd spoke up, not loud, but with conviction. That's Sergeant Walter Reed. He saved 3 guys in '72. Took shrapnel to the spine. That's why he walks like that. The words hit Ethan harder than any slap ever could. He stood motionless, watching as realization dawned around him. The power he once held in the moment evaporated, replaced with disbelief and a growing weight of shame. Walter remained calm. His posture, despite his age and injuries, radiated an inner strength. Something Ethan had never truly encountered before. He didn't demand an apology. He didn't curse. He simply stood there, like he had stood so many times before. In battle, in loss, in silence. The contrast between the two was painfully clear. Ethan came from a world of comfort and power. He was used to bending situations to his will, manipulating people, winning. He was the kind of man who could talk his way out of a ticket or silence a scandal with a check. Walter, on the other hand, was quiet, grounded, and largely invisible to society. A man who had given everything to his country, only to be forgotten by the very people he'd fought for. The heat pressed down as the silence grew heavy. The cars behind honked impatiently, but the crowd didn't move. They were watching something rare. Not a fight, but a reckoning. Then, a young man in a firefighter's uniform stepped forward. He looked at Walter with respect, removing his cap as he spoke. He said his father had told him about Walter. How, in Vietnam, a soldier had pulled him from a burning Humvee just seconds before it exploded. That soldier was Walter. That act had saved his father's life. Walter, with a faint smile, recalled the name. Corporal Gensen? He owed me nothing, Walter said gently. We were brothers. Then his gaze shifted back to Ethan. I'm not angry, he said. I'm not even surprised. You didn't hit me. You hit the idea of me. The version you've been told doesn't matter anymore. But we're still here. Quiet. Watching. And when the time comes, still standing. The words weren't loud, but they were like thunder in Ethan's ears. He stared at the ground, suddenly aware of how empty his actions had been. He couldn't take back the slap, but something inside him cracked. The ego. The superiority. It didn't shatter all at once, but it began to crumble. That evening, The video went viral. Headlines exploded. Young man slaps war hero on street. What happens next will shock you. Millions saw it. People commented, shared, wept. Soldiers reached out. Veterans posted their own stories. For a moment, the noise of the internet was replaced by something deeper. Gratitude, reflection, and anger at how easily society forgets its heroes. Ethan didn't respond online. He didn't post a NoteSap apology or hire a PR firm. The next morning, he showed up again. This time, without the car, without the suit. He stood beside Walter in silence. No cameras, no crowd. Just two men, one learning, one leading. Over the following weeks, Ethan returned again and again. He listened to Walter's stories, brought him coffee, paid for his prescriptions, started volunteering at the local veterans shelter. He even launched a small nonprofit that provided housing for aging veterans. His social circle laughed at him at first. Some mocked the change. But Ethan no longer cared. One morning, Walter leaned over and said with a chuckle, "That slap. It woke you up. Some people need silence. Some need words. You, son, needed thunder." Ethan smiled, tears just barely held back. "I did," he whispered. "And I'll never forget it." As summer turned to fall, Walter didn't return to the street. He passed away in his sleep, peacefully, with his medals by his bedside. Ethan continued showing up, every day. Same spot, same time, holding a new sign. Not asking for money, not asking for attention. Just standing, as Walter once did, with a cardboard sign that read, "To the quiet heroes, we see you now." If this story touched you, take a moment to thank someone who served. And if you believe the world needs more Walters, subscribe, share, and comment your country below. Because sometimes, the quietest people carry the loudest truths.